welcome back to All Things Considered on NPR. I'm Cooper Anderson, and today we have the distinct pleasure of hearing from our guest, Fortinbras Jr., the son of the late King of Denmark, Fortinbras. We're so sorry to hear about your loss, Fortinbras.
Thanks, Cooper. It's been a particularly tough one on our family and on our nation as a whole, but just to lose such a powerful and caring leader, but I'm glad to be here with you tonight.
Thank you. We're very glad to have you here with us on the show as well. Now, some of our American viewers aren't too familiar with your father's accomplishments. Could you take a moment to tell us about some of the things he was able to do for Denmark?
Of course, in his tenure, my father established a Senate, giving more power to the people, while still maintaining our national tradition of a monarchy. He also rekindled diplomatic relationships with Poland and with Norway, his home country. And also
Wait, you said his home country.
Well, yes, his home country, the nation he was born in, so home.
Giving foreigners power, that's un-American.
Well, Cooper, we aren't Americans, but everyone knows the story. The Danes were an incestuous, mad, villainous family. The only wise decision they really made was leaving my father in power.
So how exactly did that come to be? Who got to decide that your father would be the next king?
Have you never seen the play? It was Hamlet. It was his dying wish that my father could lead.
So they were close friends, your father and Hamlet.
Bloody hell. Is this an interview or is this an interrogation? Because you really should just watch the play.
Well, I did I watched a video about it once on Spark Notes when I was back in high school, but to me it's just so bewildering to think that this royal family that, like you said, had gone mad, got to choose who the next king would be. I mean, how could Hamlet, in his lunacy and his idiocy, make such a smart and wise decision?
Inspired guess on his part.
Well, enough of that. Now on to the hard-hitting questions that our American viewers really want answered. We hear you've been seeing Princess Brunhilde of Bavaria. How scandalous.
Oh, you Americans, your deep love of gossip. Enough of this. I just can't hide it any longer. Forgive me, Father. It's time to open up the gates of truth and to let everything air out. There's something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Let's hear it.
So, everything's a lie. The play is a lie. Cooper, my life, my father's rule, all lies.
Well, we already know that. You socialist Danes. We Americans know socialism is a lie.
No, you just don't understand.
Well, what do you mean? What are you trying to say here, Fortinbras?
It's kind of a long story, honestly.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Oh, thanks. Where would you like to start?
The beginning ought to do just fine.
Well, like I said, my father was born in Norway. Traditionally, we Norwegians, we never really got on well with the Danes. We've always hated them.
Why is that, some old soccer rivalry?
No, neither of our countries have ever been particularly fantastic at football. In fact, the real reason we have such a rocky relationship is my father lost a war with Hamlet's father. The relationship has just never been the same.
What was that loss like for your country?
Well, it was devastating. We lost our king, just dead after the war. We lost land, farmland, so our economy was down. And to make matters worse, the Danes were living on top of the world. That is, for a decade or so, until the King Hamlet Sr. Died.
Now, Hamlet Sr., it was his brother, Claudio, who murdered him, correct?
That's what the history books would have you believe. But no, Claudius did not kill his brother. In fact, Hamlet died quite peacefully on a summer's day in his garden.
So, this Claudius wasn't so bad after all, then?
No, not at all. Personally, I'd say that my father did a better job on the throne, but Claudius really did a fine job.
So, the Danish royal family wasn't mad?
Exactly. Like I said, everything you know about the story is a lie.
My goodness, well, what happened next then?
Their whole family was slain by a foreign spy. A spy who had earned their deepest trust many years before.
What do you mean? Who?
Have I heard of the chap? Horatio. Well, good old Horatio was actually hired by my father as a sort of double agent. He was the perfect means to infiltrate Elsinore. With his help, my father was finally able to initiate his plans to take over Denmark.
Oh, God! How cruel to employ Hamlet's dearest friend in your plot to assassinate him and his family. How did you convince Horatio to do this?
Student debt levels are higher than ever, you know. Since Horatio had been so close with Hamlet at Wittenberg, he was happily welcomed into Elsinore. For a time, his visit was marked with joy and festivity, but just as soon as he had lulled them to sleep with his charm, he struck. With one swift move, he was able to wipe them all out. Wise Claudius, goodly Gertrude, and thoughtful Hamlet.
God, that's just terrible. And so I'm assuming, based on what you've told me here, that Hamlet wasn't really there to coordinate your father.
You're learning quickly. After the family was slain, Horatio reached out to my father, who quickly assumed the throne.
So you're saying that these Danish people just were okay with the fact that their new king wasn't even from Denmark? These socialists are just so stupid.
Says the American. Of course they didn't accept him at first. Daddy had to find a way to gain their trust before he could start making Denmark great again.
Make Denmark great again. That has a nice ring to it. It's so powerful yet so familiar for some reason.
Yes, my father knew how to sell himself, and he knew what type of people he needed by his side to help him rise to the top. So when the citizens of Denmark started questioning him, Daddy called an old friend. So when he was studying in England, one of Daddy's best pals was William Shakespeare.
You don't say.
Oh yes, they were the very best of pals, as it were. Great friends, and great minds attract each other. After the silly Danes started doubting my father's good intention, he called upon his old friend. Together they worked tirelessly, day and night, to prepare what is quite possibly the greatest, most convincing piece of propaganda in history. The play Hamlet.
What do you mean? This play is a work of art, not some silly piece of socialist propaganda.
The fact that you, of all people, are in such disbelief just proves my point. The play served its purpose to perfection. Through it, we were able to convince the people of Denmark that the royal family had been mad, tyrannical, immoral, complete scumbags unworthy of the throne. And with the closing scene, Hamlet's dying words gave my father the legitimacy that he wouldn't even be capable of gaining after 100 years of faithful service.
But do you really think that lying is an ethical way to gain a society's trust?
It might not be, well, ethical, exactly, but effective. So effective, and that's what matters. Just looks what was going on in the world at that time.
So, you weren't the only socialist at the time. What a surprise.
Look, buddy, this has nothing to do with liberalism or conservatism. You just need to get that out of your head. This was happening even in your beloved United States of America.
God, what is this blasphemy?
Hey, just shut up already, you ignorant fool. Just think about it. Daddy was only following the precedent set by the other powerful leaders at the time. A lie here, a fib there. As long as you gain the support of your constituents, you're doing all right. This was, of course, the age of alternative facts, of fake news. It was normal. I would bet a good deal that no one in Denmark was too upset to hear about this. After all, my father did leave behind a much brighter legacy than some of the other leaders of the time.
Well, if this whole play was just some expansive political piece, how have we been able to analyze it artistically for so long?
Oh, Cooper, don't you get it? Art has one purpose, that is to express an idea. Now, the authenticity of this idea, that doesn't matter. We all love a little good fiction. What matters at the end of the day is how the idea is conveyed, how the idea sticks with the viewer or the reader, how it changes them, and how this play was so unbelievable, it just had to be true. Or at least, that's what all the plebeians thought. And you see, Cooper, governing isn't about the people, it's about the power. That's what matters, the power.
How did your father sleep at night?
Well, in a bed fit for a king, wrapped in cool silk sheets. He never wanted the truth to come out. Part of me wanted that too.
Then why did you open up about it now? Was the regret and the remorse just too much for you?
Remorse? I would have done exactly the same thing. I see nothing wrong with what my father and the great bard did. I just thought it was important to let the people know the truth after the fact. I wouldn't want our Danish constituents to become like that small group of you silly Americans who are always questioning everything. The Lord-constituent relationship shouldn't be based on as much about trust as it is on faith.
On faith?
Yeah, faith that you will do the right thing for your country. You see, truth is subjective. Power is forever.